Daniel Sports Central, we go over a college football game preview and prediction on the 2021 Boca Raton Bowl matchup between App State and Western Kentucky. Both teams are runner-ups in their respective conferences. Western Kentucky is the runner-up in the Conference USA, and Appalachian State is the runner-up in the Sun Belt. So it should make for a good matchup coming up here in the Boca Raton Bowl. We'll be going over a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here today, starting out with your team trends. Western Kentucky lost to UTSA in the Conference USA Championship game 41-49. It was a shootout, and the Hilltoppers kept it close for a while, but in the end, UTSA got the win by 8 in that matchup. And overall, it's been a solid season though for Western Kentucky. They're 8-5 heading into this matchup, and I mean that's an improvement off of last season. So certainly it's been a good season for them. As for App State, lost to Louisiana, ranked football team 16-24 in their last game. That was in the Sun Belt Championship. But they're 10-3, kept it close, and certainly they've had a good season up to this point. So yeah, huge credit to them as well. Both teams have got one-game losing streaks going into this matchup, but both teams had good winning streaks to finish out the season. Game will be on Saturday, December 18th, Boca Raton, Florida. So this game will be on the second day of bowl matchups, and it's a morning kickoff as well, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Spread's going App State by 2.5. Over-under is 67.5. So we got a moderate to a higher scoring game expected, and App State is slightly favored, and it's expected to be close, and I expect the exact same. I mean, you got two football teams that have played excellent seasons, and I mean, Western Kentucky is a very high-powered offense. They've got one of the best quarterbacks that you could argue in the country. So, I mean, there's a lot at stake here for both these teams, and both teams are, I mean, it's a very intriguing matchup just looking at these teams statistically. Series history, App State leads at 4-1. Win streak is App State by 3, and the last game was in 2000, so it's been over 20 years since we last saw these two teams go head-to-head. Here's your stat comparison for this matchup. Western Kentucky, 43 points per game, 28 points allowed, 434 pass yards a game. That is the highest in the country by a significant margin. This is a very heavy passing offense here with Western Kentucky. Bailey Zapp has had an outstanding season, over 5,000 yards, 5,500 yards he has thrown this season. His completion rate is excellent. Touchdown to interception ratio is 56-11. That is a pretty insane stat line out of him, and it's a very heavy passing offense. So yeah, for App State, got to be ready in the secondary and in the passing defense because Western Kentucky is a very heavy passing offense. They're 93 rushers a game, and then for yards allowed, 261 passing, 161 for rushing. As for App State, 34 points per game, 19 points allowed, 240 pass yards a game, 187 rush yards, and then for yards allowed, 206 passing, 119 for rushing. So defensively, I mean, App State is much better, I'd say, than Western Kentucky. But offensively, you could argue Western Kentucky is a more high-powered offense, certainly. Even though, I mean, App State is still very talented offensively as well. I mean, you got Chase Bryce, who has had a good season as well, over 3,000 passing yards, which is a pretty impressive stat line as well. Some recent matchups, Western Kentucky lost to UTSA, beat Marshall 53-21, beat Florida Atlantic. So they've been, I mean, if you look at their past 4 games before that UTSA game, even in that UTSA game, they scored 41. I mean, they're scoring over like 43 points per game this season, and they've been in the 40s and 50s many times this season. It's a very high-powered offense. I mean, their defense is okay, but it's certainly not as good as their offense. I mean, their offense is what's been carrying them this season in the Conference USA. App State lost to Louisiana 16-24, dominated Georgia Southern by 24, beat Troy 45-7, beat South Alabama 31-7, and also beat Arkansas State 48-14. So, yeah, solid season for App State. They've been pretty dominant all season long in the Sun Belt, and they actually were able to win their division at 10-3, and they were pretty dominant as well. And they beat Coastal Carolina out for that division too. I mean, Coastal Carolina was expected to win that division, and App State came out and had a great season. Some key points here: Western Kentucky 8-5, Conference USA runner-up. Both teams are runner-ups of their respective conferences and are coming off of conference championship games. Western Kentucky, heavy passing offense, as I just said, and Bailey Zapp I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I think I am, but yeah, he has over 5,500 passing yards this season, which is incredible. App State, Sun Belt runner-up passing defense will need a strong game. That is for sure out of App State, going up against an offense that is producing over nearly 450 yards of passing per game, that's as insane of a stat as I've ever seen. And I've been previewing games all season long and never have seen a stat line like that. I mean, it's pretty incredible seeing what this offense has done in the passing game, especially in their conference. App State, so passing defense will need a strong game. And I will say, though, App State, they are a more dominant football team. They're more balanced. They've got a good offense, and their defense is certainly more reliable. than you could say versus Western Kentucky's. So that's definitely something to note there. But that said, let's get to the prediction here for Western Kentucky and App State. Boca Raton Bowl. I'm going to go App State here, 31-27. And this is a tough one to predict. You got two good football teams, and it's going to be heavily depending on how Western Kentucky does in the passing game versus App State, which is one of the better defenses that they've seen all season. So certainly something to watch out for there. And I'm going to go App State here. I'm just more confident in App State right now. Western Kentucky is they're a good football team as well. They've had a great season, but once again, App State, I'm more confident in them as a football team. They've been more consistent all season. And I mean, before that Louisiana game, they were just dominating every single opponent that they played. So that's definitely something to keep in mind heading into this game. Over under 67.5. Take the under on this matchup. I'm going to take App State to cover as well, the 2.5 point spread, but I'm betting the spread is kind of tough here. I mean, the over under too, 67.5 is expected to be a very high scoring game, but I do expect the under here for this matchup by quite a bit actually as well, by about 10 points. But that said, let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this game, and I appreciate you guys all watching. As always, stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll see you guys later.